Bob, as we enter Halloween season, uh, what would happen if you lost your job on the eve of your closing when you were buying a home?
Well, Jason, that is a pretty scary scenario. I did have it happen to me as a young attorney, sitting at the closing table. My client leans over to me as they're signing all the papers, and he said, "I don't know how to tell you this, but I just lost my job." And about 30 years ago, I probably said, "Well, let's see if anybody asks you about that." And they didn't. And the closing went through, and he got reemployed, and the homeowner today and has paid his mortgage for the last 30 years, and everything turned out just fine. However, nowadays banks are a lot more scrutinizing. They will do things like forever confirm that you're still working at your job, even up to the very last week. And even at the closing, they will probably have you sign an affidavit saying that there has been no material change in your income or your job standing or your assets or things like that. And the client really has to decide how they want to respond. Of course, lawyers can only tell you uh, to answer honestly, and then the client sometimes does whatever they do. But basically, if you lose your job on the eve of the closing, you probably have lost your commitment, and you may even risk your deposit. Maybe some of the things that can be done is to adjourn the closing, hope that the client gets another job. Of course, the bank then will be wary about how long will this second job be for, but that certainly will take some of the stress out of the situation if the client gets quickly, reemployed. Sometimes the client also, on their own, changes jobs. We really don't want that to happen because that'll cause a whole lot of questions to pop up from the lender. So that's not a good thing to change jobs just before. But sometimes clients do the darndest things, to add more stress to the situation, and they do change jobs. Maybe because they can't take it anymore, or there's just a job that's too good to be true not to pass up on. But any sort of change in your employment is really a big red flag, and or could possibly cause the transaction not to go through and lose your deposit. So that's the scary story. This being the eve of Halloween, there's enough things to worry about. Hopefully that will never be in any of our viewers' horizon or picture.